Hello there, I'm Ed Heaney, a longtime Dixon resident and member of the Dixon United Methodist Church for about half a century. My main claim to fame over there is I belong to the think tank, which is a bunch of old guys. Well, we're in our 80s and 90s, and I guess you call that old. And we meet together every Monday morning and have coffee and tell tall war stories and tall tales. Well, since the pandemic hit us, they locked us in and we can't go over there and do that. So I decided, well, let's still keep in touch. So each week I've written a letter of some kind. It might be about flying, it might be about school days, it might be about most anything. But hopefully every Monday morning they'll have a letter in their mail. And I'd like to share one of these letters with you today. This was one I did when I was a young lad. I was an inquisitive lad in my pre-high school days back on the farm. I was always asking why, what, and how come on many subjects. A lot of my questioning had to do with Bible teaching. Now, in our home, Bible teaching or reading was foremost. We attended church and Sunday school every Sunday, every morning and evening. We also went to Wednesday prayer meeting most every week. In addition, our mother had daily devotions before meals. With all this stimulation, questions formed incessantly for us to ponder. One of the first subjects I encountered was the Ten Commandments. As explained, if you followed these directions, you didn't have to worry about going to hell. As I studied and interpreted the commandments, 9 were no sweat. But the one about false pretenses and or lying might take a little attention. So far, this Bible stuff didn't seem too restrictive. Another study topic was the Lord's Prayer. My mother explained each paragraph to me. When I asked why it is called the Lord's Prayer, I recall that it was explained as covering all bases: praise, thankfulness, forgiveness, daily needs, not to be tempted, evil, and so forth. This really made sense to me, and I thought, how convenient. I won't need to mention every one, every deed, and so forth. Sure will make my evening prayer simple. Just use the Lord's Prayer, and in 2 minutes you're done. Another question was, what does God look like? Can we see Him? Now, this was a little more difficult, but the main tool explained to me was you have to have faith. That seemed satisfactory for me, but I still had that faint question, can I see God? In the summer when I was 14, I attended a youth camp at Stafford, Kansas. The camp was a great setting along a stream within a large grove of trees. We had our own bunk in the dorms, swimming pool, and good food. A major feature was that each of us were charged with selecting our own private worship area out in the forest to be used for morning devotions and worship. I had selected a neat area among saplings and trees along a felled log. When the bell rang for us to get up in the morning, we all scattered to our private worship space. As I entered my area that first morning, I was struck by the brilliance of the sun beaming through the trees. And there in the mist, I saw 2 figures. I was spellbound. Was it them? Was it God and Jesus? Did I really see God? I couldn't really tell then, and I really can't tell now. But one thing I know for sure, God was there in the worship center among the trees.